Welcome to Grace Notes, the weekly community affairs show with Town of Yorktown Supervisor Michael Grace. I'm Bruce Apar of Apar All Media and the Yorktown News and various other media. Supervisor, we have a couple of heavy hitters today on this show. What were we going to say?
Just a supervisor of Town of Yorktown, that's all. Oh, never mind, forget it.
What did I say?
Go.
Give me a complex here. I said the Town of Yorktown Supervisor.
No.
Okay.
The joke even went over my head.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, all right. But we want to let people know what's going on around town, but we also want to welcome our guests, Yorktown Youth Soccer Club. Are you the president, Rick, or the...
Yeah, the president.
Or the Dalai Lama, I don't know.
I'll stick to the president.
Rick Romansky. And you've been, how long have you been president? Like 20 years, right?
This will be the 15th year.
Oh, 15, okay, right. I don't
no,
want
no term limits over there.
No term limits.
I don't
Not
want
yet.
to prematurely age you. And also we welcome somebody we've gotten to know very well, Dennis Roach of Burbio.com, who likes to come up to Yorktown a lot from Pelham these days.
Yes, absolutely.
Dennis was here for Yorktown Community Day on Saturday. And speaking of that, it really went pretty well, Yorktown Community Day, considering it was a new format. Right?
It went great. And actually, a lot of credit goes to, obviously, the regular players, which is ASK, the Alliance for Safe Kids, Tristan Kushner and those girls. I mean, they do an amazing job. But also, the Yorktown Organizations United kind of stepped to the plate a lot, which is really a positive thing. And your idea worked very well. I mean, the Yorktown Youth Soccer
And we should say the supervisor, along with other officials, Councilman Tom Diana, and your confidential secretary, Mary Kaposha, and County Legislator John Testa.
Right.
Am I missing anybody? Also handed out participation trophies.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
really fun.
Seriously, it was great that you stepped up and did that.
They had, it was great because if you looked at the trophies, the plaque had the mall stars.
Oh, really? I wonder whose
So
idea that was.
And actually, it was the idea of giving the Yorktown Youth Soccer Club participation trophies at the Community Day. It was absolutely an excellent idea.
On a big stage. Yeah. And you can see the kids were loving it, and the parents, taking the photographs.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And I think it really went well. I think the mall, I tell you, it's a great place for it. And when that mall finally starts to open up with some more stores, it's going to be bigger and better and more exciting. And it was hoped that we were going to get a nice announcement that day from the mall powers to be, but they've pushed that off a little bit. But we're very hopeful that by the end of the summer we'll see some real progress up there.
And Dennis, who came from, I said, he comes from Pelham, but you were impressed by it.
Yeah, no, we belong to a lot of chambers and commerce, and we do a lot of stuff around Westchester, and it was very impressive by any standard. And I was also very impressed that Yorktown United picked the perfect spot for their booth. They were indoors where it was cool, but they were still in this location where you could see.
We could go in or out.
It was really the best locale. I was very impressed with that.
Well, you know something with that.
Bruce was hot out there. I'm sorry, Rick's was hot sitting in the middle of the.
No, actually, we were under that tree.
We were next to the band, though, so when the band was on,
we were
it was
in the
very
shade
loud.
the whole time.
No, but and a lot of tremendous credit goes to the mall manager Rob Luciano, and to the marketing director Alexa O'Rourke and her assistant Julia Orlando. I mean, they really worked very hard for many weeks leading up to the event on June 13th, and I think they really pulled off something special that we can build on.
Oh, I think the takeaway from Saturday was exactly that. Yeah. That it really was. Community Day has sort of waned a little bit, but there wasn't a lot of consistency because it kind of jumped around town all over the place. It was at FDR Park, and then it was over at the YCC Field. And
the high school.
Strang,
Used to be at the high school.
Strang, yeah, right.
And so it was always who's going to pick up the baton on carrying this thing forward. Not only that, but where it was going to be. And I think that then we decided with the Yorktown Organizations United that we were really going to end up doing these are the 6-month bookends for events in town, which was Community Day for the second Saturday in June and the Christmas Lights Parade at the first and second weekend in December. So they're really 6 months apart when kind of kicking off the summer season, when obviously kicking off the holiday season. So, and you know, these things, but I think the real big takeaway is that it's going, if we keep with that format, and I think your idea is great, and expanding your idea a little bit more, and having a little bit, hopefully by the time that we do it next year with a little bit more draw for at the mall with shops, I think it's going to be a real big success.
Yeah, next year the soccer club will be able to have 800 kids receive their awards there.
Really? All of them?
You know, out of the 250 kids that were supposed to pick up their awards this week, we gave out about 140 of them. So we had a little above 50% participation
That's excellent.
on short notice. So next year we're going to try and get the whole Bantam division and the in-house division, which accounts for about 800 kids.
Well, you know, actually, and you know, having had the youngins and done this stuff in the past, I mean, it's actually kind of a nice way of doing it, because when you do these things in the past, you know, it was always up to the coach. You'd probably do it at a pizzeria or someplace, right?
Or right on the field, and
Right,
it's not as fun. It's not like a big, gigantic event. Like this made it so gigantic, and the kids were like so happy to get up on that stage, and you could see they were like having fun doing it. It was just, it was a bigger thing. And if you make it a big event, and at the same time drive the people to the mall to help all the small businesses, that's what's important.
And I can tell you, even for as a public official, it's nice, because it's nice. It gives me an opportunity to participate in something that I otherwise wouldn't be able to participate in, and you know, have interaction with a whole group of people, which are very important to me, especially, you know, in this town, as far as, you know, looking at what you know, making decisions as to athletic facilities and what we need, and hearing from that constituency is important to me. So
well, also, the other thing about the stage, by the way, which I should add, the supervisor, along with Councilman Diana and Rob Luciano from the mall, we're physically assembling at 10 o'clock or 10:30 before the...
I can attest to that.
Right,
Mike was on his back underneath the stage with his feet pushing levers and bars up to get the stage in place.
Right. So that was the stage, by the way, that had been just hours before at the Relay for Life over here at Tomato Field. That right? You picked up in the morning and drove over there and assembled it over there. But it really was a great demonstration of community effort and teamwork, just to get it all done.
Yeah, no, it was. Look, I mean, it was a great day. The restaurant's participation in the Taste of Yorktown was great.
Yes.
It really was, and you know what? There's a few things that could have got a little bit more traction in this car show and the antique, but I mean, it was. I think it got a good turnout. It was a beautiful day, and I think everybody walked out of there very optimistic that good things are to come. But I think you had the sage advice to Alexis, which is basically, you know, when you're running these things, you're seeing, you know, get a good little statement to it. You get worried, and you're seeing everything that goes wrong,
right?
And not understanding that nobody understands what your vision was anyhow. So everybody else doesn't pick up which I think is very good advice in these things, because it's true. And it's that way you can relax a lot more and enjoy it a lot more, and things come off a lot better.
Yeah, they were getting really frazzled and upset, but I just said to them, I'm like, you're the only ones that know that it's going wrong.
Yeah.
No one else knows what's supposed to be happening.
Right, yeah.
But
It's
it really went.
Yeah.
It went very well.
That was good. Actually, compared to last year's Community Day, which was at the YCC, because I attended that last year,
On the field.
it was terrible.
I remember standing in the field too. You were talking to me,
Right.
and you were saying, Rick was saying this in the summer of 2014 Community Day. I remember he's saying to me, you know, we got to get the sports clubs involved in this and bring them. And he was the first one to step up.
Well, you know what, it is. If you look at, you know, just the different interactions of the different, and you know, I'm glad Burbio's here too, you know, because it really does what United
Set out to
do. And that is that you have this whole, you have a group, a population that involves the kids at that age. So you know, I mean, I think the kids were actually cute, actually pretty funny, a lot of them. But you have all these kids that, and I know your parents, they move into the town and they get involved, and that's how they get involved in the town. They get involved by putting their kids in whatever, and that becomes begins their social order up here, and their social interaction or whatever, networking. The continuation of being involved in the community is all the other organizations that really represent Yorktown Organizations United.
Right.
And as your children mature, they mature into, they're not, you don't have a lot of, there's a huge, I don't know so much as soccer, but I know baseball and Little League, the attrition rate out of baseball is huge.
Yeah, no, it's dropped a lot. Yeah.
By the time kids are out of, towards the end of their grammar school years and beginning of high school years, the number of kids participating in baseball drops tremendously.
Well, overall, just so you know, because I know the stat, 70% of all children drop out of sports around age 13.
Is that what it is?
That's the number.
Basically, when they get to high school.
It's a national number.
And when you talk about ASK, which is the Alliance for Safe Kids, which is a really drug prevention and educational outreach program, what the doting or the focus on kids up till that age is intense, and there's a lot of great programs in Yorktown, and it's fun, and it's but you need that continuum. And where do you start to go after 13? Well, we, as for the most part, as a community, you rely on the schools to take care of it, and I think that's a bit of a mistake, because the schools to me are somewhat isolated and cloistered. I mean, it's just you still want and actually, interestingly enough, the schools require community service to a certain degree, so they're trying to get their kids out of the schools and back into the community, right?
Back to us, because they come to us for the community service.
Right. Yeah.
And so what a better thing than to have the Yorktown Organizations United membership be on display to say, look, this is and so when you start getting the older kids, to understand that in the exposure of all these different, members or organizations and their missions, both to the parents and the kids, is a very important thing for this continuity of volunteerism and participation in the community. So,
right, like next year, I think one thing where we never touched on, I never really introduced you. We didn't introduce the concept of United.
With the event.
With the event.
Yeah, right.
So next year when we're giving out the awards.
We should have like an opening ceremony, really.
Right, but when we give out the awards next year, well, I was actually thinking about even running a parade.
Yeah.
Because we don't really have a Yorktown parade.
Right.
So we can make a Yorktown parade there, have them just walk around the mall.
The parking lot or whatever.
Well, we can do it even in the mall, do it inside. And then they can kind of stop by all the businesses, maybe talk to them to set up some kind of Halloween-type trek, even though it's not Halloween. Kind of do something cool, because it's mostly younger kids.
No, it was funny. I was thinking, and this is just, I guess some anthropologists one day will look all back on this, try to figure it all out. But we ended up, we had main streets where all this, right? Yeah. And then we decided we collapsed our main streets and decided to put them, that was the
into
60s,
malls.
right? And the 60s, 70s, the new thing. We'll all go underground. Like the sci-fi, family was going to be all, we're all going to be turned into moles somewhere.
Right.
But to really get United out there, like if you attached all the soccer clubs and the baseball, Yak, Shrub Oak, Yorktown Youth Soccer Club, that's the whole, where all the energy comes from in this town.
Masses, right?
All the sports energy. This is like this town's overly consumed with sports.
Yeah, but and now we have these malls that are dying. So so you have to
ties that in.
You have to try to revitalize the malls, which are the interior main streets, just like we try to revitalize our main streets. The same thing. So I think it's a good idea, and it's a good venue for it, and for us in particular. I mean, us, town of Yorktown in particular, it is important to revitalize that. Yeah.
So, speaking of revitalizing, when Yorktown Organizations United came across Burbio, it was like manna from heaven, because initially Burbio introduced this great online calendar, which now we have online, and I just want to mention, Dennis, that very recently, we haven't even talked about it on the show yet, what we have now, if you go to burbio.com and sign up, and it's as easy as entering your name, email, and zip code, that's all you have to do. And if you search for United Community Calendar, and that's YOUNITED, you'll see that there now is a central community calendar that we can display the events from other Burbio calendars if your organization puts one up, and it's free, so there's no reason not to put one up. And then we can basically import selected events on the United calendar, so you have a one-stop calendar where people can go and see.
Yeah,
and if you go there now, you'll see there's a lot of events there from the Lions Club and from Field Home and from Lakeland School District and on and on.
Yeah, just so people understand, is that Yorktown Organizations United, which we call United,
Right.
It's for short, but it's the YO United. Is a community organization, a foundation, which basically is looking to tie together and create synergy between the different volunteer organizations in town. And they range. I mean, they don't have to be actually NFPs, not-for-profits. They can be They can be loosely organized alliances or groups or whatever it is. And Yorktown has a wealth of these types of organizations, which is really nice. So your organization, a lot of the athletic organizations are all private clubs. We have a lot of these different organizations in town, and it was a goal of Yorktown Organizations United to get these types of groups to be able to share resources, hopefully find new places to get funding for their purposes. And the one thing that was always my pet issue was I always knowing where I had to be or what was going on, and even when you wanted to schedule things like Community Day, you wanted to know what else was going out in the community, so you didn't have conflicts. So the Yorktown Organization's mission was not only to share resources, but to create this common calendar. And what we found was, this is where Dennis comes in, and Burbio had this great. And you explain the genesis of your, because...
Well, my wife and I have lived for 17 years in Westchester. We have 4 kids, and we experienced in our town, Pelham, which is much more congested than Yorktown, but it's similar, a little smaller, but, similar dynamic, where why can't we find what's going on in an easy way? And so it was really Julie who took my complaints, my wife and co-founder, and built a calendar sharing platform. And we actually came up to Yorktown. It was the street fair. That was our first time we came here. And we met a whole bunch of groups, and we now work with everyone from the Teen Center to Relay for Life to obviously Yorktown United. We stream school and sports, and it makes it very easy to find things in one place. And one of the things that I will say, when you do digital products, your customers, whenever you do launch a new product, your customer always tells you what you should be doing better. And when we launched this, we built it with the idea, which is still there, that a mom or a dad can come and just easily add things to the digital calendar, and when they get updated, they find out about it. But remember Bruce saying, why don't you create a calendar version where you can take things from other calendars and create kind of a master calendar, which is what you're saying.
And also Mike Sitzer really was the other way.
And we did that for Yorktown United. So now that what Bruce and his group does is they literally sift through and sort of pick the greatest hits. Right. So you might go to the Lions calendar and put the concerts on, but not maybe their board meetings, which are just for members. So if you're the Lions, you go right to that. We also have a version that can live on their website. So if you go to the Lions website, you see the calendar that's from Burbio sitting there. Same thing with the Teen Center.
And,
Same
and
thing
Parks
with the
and
Chamber.
Recreation, the Yorktown
Parks and Rec did it. The Chamber of Commerce does it.
Yeah.
Friends of Jacqueline, which I think is a regional nonprofit, does it. So
we're just waiting.
Yes. Well, and we work with some YAC sports leagues, and we'd love to have you guys do it. And sports schedules are a little more labor intensive, but it works great for that. Matter of fact, some parent was giving me grief the other day of the U12 soccer team that I was coaching, and I casually mentioned that I had coached 500 games going back 15 years, and I'd seen this 18 times, and here's what happened. Here's what happened 13 of the times. Here's what happened 3 of the times, and so can you relax, please? So we've done a lot of that as well. I was just tired of sending out emails. So that was really kind of a neat program. And then, so we were also then, and Mike, we had met you at the Lions event, and you had told us about Yorktown United, and we were playing with an idea of, okay, how are we going to sort of make this sort of a resource for businesses? And we came up with the idea of, after studying the way local commerce occurs, in the same way you'd want to put a lot of calendars in one place and make it easy for everybody, sort of the digital expression is a network effect, we said, all right, why don't we create a platform for businesses to work with the community as well? And so we've launched this credit card link network with this concept of buy local, give local. We've launched it here, and we've launched it in southern Westchester. And the concept to start is that nonprofits will promote businesses that will give a percentage of their revenue to the nonprofits for their supporters who shop there. So we just launched it in Pelham and New Rochelle about 2 weeks ago, and we're launching it this week in Yorktown. We have 5 local businesses off at the gate. We've got Augie's Prime, and then we've got Time, Savannah's, Yorktown Jewelers, and Yorktown Wine and Liquor. Right. And we obviously we hope to be adding more. And we're working with soccer, Yorktown Soccer, York YAC, Harrison Apar Foundation, and then Lions and Alliance for Safe Kids. So the idea is that once consumers register a credit card, it's tracked, because we know the merchants, we're working with a provider that does it. But over time, it'll be a way for merchants to talk to the community relatively easily. Yeah, and that's the idea.
It actually is it generated a lot of excitement here locally, especially with us, because, it's like just exactly what we had envisioned. And the problem with visions is always execution. Right. And I think this is not only is it, I think this is a great, I think once you start rolling it out, I think Yorktown is a great petri dish for this thing.
No, it's a point of pride, I think, for Yorktown. It's like that Dennis and Julie have only launched in 2 places and anywhere, and we're one of those places, right?
It was nice, and the merchants who've jumped in and done it, they pay a small monthly fee. It's not a big commitment on their part, but certainly it's something that's new. So, Tom at times signed up, maybe because he was having a second glass of wine when we stopped by, but he jumped all over it. Sal at Augie's.
Yep.
And
you got Tom early then.
Yeah.
I just want to mention, Dennis, the thing to me, it's such an elegant, simple program in terms of fundraising. I mean, I really think it's a breakthrough because and Rick could vouch for this too from his, but it's totally seamless. That's the thing. It's not as if the general concept is brand new, because as we all know, you hand out leaflets to parents of players and say, go to, Jake's Way Back. So, the basic concept, but it's so seamless and quite frankly, painless. I mean, I did it, I did it the other day. I went on, go to burbio.com. You'll see Buy Local, Give Local. You'll click on it. You'll see all the businesses and the charities in Yorktown that Dennis mentioned. And I swear, it took me maybe 60 seconds. Yeah. It was nothing. I did it like in less than a minute.
So, it's very easy. And the other digital expression that I'll use is a platform, which is what we're trying to create, is sort of a platform for businesses and for nonprofits to work together in residents. Right. The other thing I'll add is that we've added in Yorktown, we're about to introduce a Lakeland sort of version of this, understanding that they share a lot of community events, is we have a product every Sunday morning. We send out a digest of community, home varsity sports, school events all in one place. And we're introducing a Lakeland School District kind of focused version of that in a week and a half. So the idea is to find it in one place. And there was a period where, my wife and I both worked, but my wife did all the school stuff. I think I thought I did, but I didn't really do anything. And it was always very frustrating for me to figure out what's going on, because I didn't like to have to read all these emails with 27 things on it. So this digest is a really nice way to kind of figure out what's going on.
That's This Week in Yorktown, right?
This Week in Yorktown, and I actually am familiar with the issue here in Yorktown as well. Home varsity sporting events, the way Section 1, which is the high school sports organization, communicates games, is really tough. Generally, it's the players and maybe their parents who know when the games are. They change. Right. And so we keep track of that, and we're reaching out to the Booster Club here to make it easier for just parents. So it's a nice digest, and that's the other part of it. But no, we were excited to get the Buy Local thing off the ground before the summer started, because it'll get people involved, and then by the time we get to back to school, we'll have grown even more.
No, I think it really holds a lot of promise, and as far as what we envisioned the Yorktown Organization's United Mission was, I think this is going to facilitate it quite a bit. And it's this whole idea of really, it's funny, at Supervisor, what can you do for business? What can you do for businesses? Well, I mean, it's businesses want to be advertised. They want to be out there. They want to be noticed. They want to be thought of. And before you go out of town, we'd like you to consider the businesses in town. And I think this kind of facilitates that, because it gives you it lets you know which businesses are out there that are really participating, giving back into the community. So the patronizing, if you have a choice to patron, you can go patronize these businesses and know that these businesses are taking, part of what they're doing and putting it right back into the community.
And the truth is, where we're at right now is we need people to sign up because the businesses are going to want to know that people are interested in this. Yeah. It doesn't take long. Right. But at the same time, down in Pelham, I have like 10 friends who've declared they're going to do it. They've said it in the time it's taken them to tell me they're going to sign up. They could have signed up 6 times by now. They still haven't done it. So it's a little bit like just go on and do it.
But that gives you reason. That's why this thing is good, though, because it's the same thing. We're all caught on time, and that's just. But it's funny because I think we were talking about the Hilltop. And they have these. Right. You got some organizations have a much more regional draw, and when they have a regional draw, they come into town and they say, well, I want to get something to eat. I want to go here. So when you can get a local business to be sponsoring. Some give back to Hanover Hilltop Farm for the special when Hanover Hilltop Farm does whatever special event they do, and it's to be pitched to the businesses. There's a lot of opportunity for businesses to drive new customers to their door that they wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah, right.
And so and I guess while we're on it, I guess the most important thing is that it's not just to get the public to sign off, but also the businesses. And the businesses, they can contact us at Yorktown Organist, right?
Right, yeah, at unitedny@gmail.com. That's YOUNITEDNY@gmail.com. But the other thing I want to mention, Dennis, I would imagine there are organizations watching, and they're saying, well, how about us, right? And it's just a matter of participating by sending out to their members the information that you would provide to them, right?
About Buy Local, you mean? Or no?
For Buy Local, Give Local, right. In terms of other Yorktown not-for-profits being beneficiaries.
Yes, if they'd like to be a part of this, absolutely.
Right, that's what I mean.
So they can do that, and they can contact Dennis at Burbio or contact yourself to get involved.
Right.
And, no, and I think it is one step at a time, and as the critical mass of people who are in the system, and keep in mind, now just it's a secure system. Right. The privacy contracts that we are obligated and are very, very, very strict. All we do is track the nonprofit donation amount. We don't see a credit card number. Right. We are not allowed to do anything with the information at all. In other words, like if you go to a fancy Italian restaurant, you can't get it. You're not going to get a coupon to another. It doesn't work that way. Right. It's very, very secure. It's very private. Our partner that we're working with deals directly with the credit card guys. So, but at the same time, once you do it, it's kind of an annuity. Like you'll be able to just walk around and spend and not even know. You get an email when you do spend at a place that's part of the program. You get an email thanking you and indicating that there's been a donation. Bruce said you do pick the nonprofit. You can change it. You can only register one at a time, one nonprofit at a time per email. If you want to sign up multiple times, you can do more. But you can change it. It takes about 24 hours to click in. So it's flexible in that regard as well.
And we should emphasize, too, but that it's just your existing credit card. There's no other card involved.
When you go, I'm just reiterating all the questions we've gotten. When you go into a restaurant or a shop or a jewelry store, you don't do anything different. You just hand it over. They do it. You don't have to say anything.
And at that point, they don't even know.
No, they don't even know. We send them
for the merchant, though, the merchant can advertise that they're part of. The merchant advertises that they are part of the Buy Local, Give Local program.
Absolutely.
And when you see a merchant that is a Buy Local, Give Local program, what it really means is that when you go into that merchant and you spend your money, that merchant is giving back to your designated charity, right? Or
we have collateral. We have little stickers that we're going to give out to the businesses that it says they're a part of it. And there's a tremendous amount of value because as the groups that promote it, we're a couple weeks ahead in Southern Westchester. As a matter of fact, for the 5 that are in, Ed Lachterman with the Lions has put an ad in the program, the summer concert series.
In the summer concert program.
And it's this full-page ad,
it's great.
which is pretty valuable, actually, and the businesses are all there. So, there's a tremendous amount of value for the businesses in terms of goodwill, and